You're listening to SM Media, the number one place for exclusive Scottish football content.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Scottish Football Show. I'm Scott Pike. It is a pleasure to be your host as always. And it's a pleasure to welcome this week's guest. It's a pleasure to welcome our North of Scotland football correspondent, Stephen Shan. Stephen, it's a pleasure to finally get you on the pod.
Absolutely, Scott. It's a pleasure to finally be on the pod. Thanks very much for having me on. I'm looking forward to enjoying the show tonight and contributing hopefully to it as well.
It's a pleasure, and we're delighted to be welcomed by as well. It's a pleasure to welcome on Laurie Finlayson. Laurie, welcome on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, Scott. Thank you very much for inviting me on. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and hopefully I don't stink the place out.
I'm sure you won't. We've had a busy weekend, obviously full league action, a lot to talk about. Let's start today. We're recording this on Sunday night. We'll start with the Sunday game, obviously the early kick-off today, and we'll then move into the 5 games on Saturday. Talk a wee bit about the Championship, League 1, League 2, and we'll preview what's coming up this week. Let's start at St Mirren Park. St Mirren 1-0 up at half-time. Stephen, I thought St Mirren were brilliant first half, handled it really well. Were able to get that early penalty. Again,
Yep.
We'll touch on that in a wee second, but the red card killed them a wee bit, and then Celtic just absolutely relentless second half. 5 different goal scorers. It really was that simple. St Mirren held out well first half. I thought the red card kind of killed them a wee bit, and then Celtic, you give them a target to aim at, and they absolutely take it. They were absolutely rampant in that second half.
Oh, absolutely, Scott. It's a good point you made about the first half, because that's how they've been setting up at home, especially against the better teams. I think I heard today it was only 9 goals they'd lost at home for the rest of the season up until today. So fair play to Mr. Robinson. He sets his team up well. Obviously, they had a game plan. They stuck to it, and unfortunately, it all went a bit pear-shaped when Mr. Dunn decided to play a short pass back, and from then on, Celtic just took over. And as you say, they're just relentless. They've so many options that can come off the bench, and look at the impact that Leila Bada had in the second half in particular.
Laurie, we touched on it last week, obviously, about Celtic, where you would probably say the front kind of 3 were maybe a bit disappointing last week. They maybe weren't like the starting 11, their midfield certainly won the game. It was roles reversed this week. The substitutes they made at half time are absolutely spot on, and it was one way traffic in that second half. It could have been 9 or 10 if the Celtic had really wanted it. Celtic were just absolutely sensational second half.
Yeah, they absolutely were. I mean, all credit to St Mirren in the first half, but is this not quite similar to what St Mirren did the other week there against Celtic at Parkhead, where they maybe didn't necessarily get in front, but they held their own, got a man sent off again later today, and just fell apart. But Celtic's squad depth is unbelievable. Sometimes when a Celtic lineup comes out, sometimes I pay more attention to the bench than I do the starting 11, because the fact that the length of Abada is bluntly an impact sub, that just shows you where they are compared to the rest of Scottish football.
Stephen, before we kind of move on, Celtic, obviously, Laurie made a good point there about their bench. You look at who they're bringing, we say this every week. I thought kind of Jota was maybe lucky to start the game. I don't think he's been in great form. Kyogo's obviously Kyogo, does what he does. Maeda come off at half time and they brought Abada on, and as you rightly said, Abada had such a good impact. But it's who they bring on after that. O'Reilly comes on for Hatate, on for Kyogo, Haksabanovic for Jota, Iwata for Moy. They've just got so much depth, and that is the big difference. And that kind of thing with Celtic as well. We'll touch on Rangers in a minute with Laurie, who also was at the game. Like, when Celtic have something to aim at, they just go for it constantly. They don't stop. They get Ange made a good point. At 3-1, they could have probably just put the flip flops on and just stood there, just basically just that would have been the game. But they go for the more goals, and that's why the goal difference is what it is. They're only 8 games away from this title, and that's why they've just got so much depth. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but they don't stop. They go. 3-1 isn't enough. 4-1 isn't enough. They go and get an extra goal, and it's just that is the difference.
Yeah, it's a good point. Their 28 goal difference above Rangers means it's basically another point. So that for that reason, it means they only need 8 wins from their last 11 games, basically, to win the title. And they're absolutely relentless. And I'd probably agree. Joe, I was quiet last Sunday. I did watch the cup final before I unfortunately watched my other team, Newcastle's display in the English League Cup final. Never mind that. He was a bit quiet, and I would say Celtic's midfield for me is just so far ahead of everybody else's. Yeah. And if you're taking somebody like O'Reilly off a bench, he's class as well. And just they move the ball so quickly from midfield to front. The teams just kind of deal with it. I will say actually, I watched the sports scene just now, and their second goal was a bit dubious. I think you could have an argument that Johnston coming in the back post, 1, possibly fouled his man, and 2, it was his hand that it hit before it went into the roof of the net. Defending was poor, very poor. Not strong enough for St Mirren, but I think that could have been. I don't know if they even looked at VAR.
No, I think the only VAR was certainly I was influenced in the first the St Mirren goal, but that was really, again, it's just VAR. We could probably do a full show in VAR this weekend again, but we'll leave VAR. But again, just another ruthless display from Celtic, and they've only that St Mirren is their only St Mirren and Rangers at home, and they're the only points they've dropped, and it's just this remarkable level of consistency. And again, it just shows you the depth they have. Laurie, let's move into Ibrox on Saturday. Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 1, Goldson, Sakala and Tavernier for Rangers in the first half. You were at the game. I want to know what you think of this. This was kind of my assessment. I've wrote down here notes. Rangers first half, really, really good. Kilmarnock were really struggling to get a handle on them. Obviously, it was 3-0 at half time. Rangers dip in the second half. I think a lot of tired legs kick in. Maybe foot off the gas to a degree. Kilmarnock had their chances, obviously get the goal, maybe fortunate not to get another. And it kind of just was that. Rangers were really on it in the first half, slow second half, and Kilmarnock kind of slowly grew into the game, but then it was too late.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well, Scott. I mean, Kilmarnock couldn't get out their own half, really, in the first half, and Rangers were just all over them. I mean, it could probably have been quite comfortably 4 or 5-0 to Rangers at the break. Kelly were probably quite relieved that it was only 3-0 in the end. In the end at half time. Obviously, in the second half, Kelly got a goal back and did have a few kind of spells, but as you pointed out, Rangers kind of took their foot off the gas because they knew that the game was effectively won. I don't want to kind of vouch for complacency here, but the game was won. Kilmarnock were never going to turn it around and even salvage a point there. At 3-0, it was effectively game over.
Stephen, obviously Rangers, they needed a performance. There's been a lot of talk. Like if you've been in Twitter this week, a lot of Rangers fans are not happy, rightly so. But there's been a lot of kind of conflicting kind of things about is it the board's fault? Did the manager get it wrong? I thought Rangers needed a performance. First half, I thought they were excellent. I thought a big reason for that was the likes of Todd Cantwell, I thought was terrific. Raskin was maybe not as good as he's shown, but again, I think it's going to take him time. I don't think it's a coincidence, though, when you've got the likes of Cantwell, Kent, I thought was really good as well. First half, they were just electric. They were getting into good spaces. There's this like tenacity as well. I thought Cholak had a really good game. I think Rangers needed a performance in that first half. I think shows you that this Rangers team can get to good levels when they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely an excellent first half display. They're 11 league games unbeaten under Beale. You've got to point that out, that's a fair start for for Michael Beale. But it's the levels you spoke about before. They did get to that level first half, but as you say, when Celtic get to 3, they didn't stop. They went to 4 and they went to 5, and that was just in one half. Whereas Rangers have stopped basically at half time, took their foot off the gas and let Kilmarnock back in. But first half, yeah, they were relentless. I like Todd Cantwell. I actually liked him when he first came in a go at Norwich, even in the Premier League when they were in the Premiership. So I was a wee bit surprised you were able to get him. But they're obviously in the Championship now, Norwich. So, but he's a threat. Comes from through from midfield, and Kent on his day is obviously going to be a big danger man. Connor Goldson's first goal this year, I believe. But you've got another big game on Wednesday night away to Hibs, who are in decent form as well, as I'm sure we'll discuss shortly.
Yeah, we'll preview that. Laurie, I want to get your thoughts, obviously, in Kilmarnock. Again, that's as a cliche, but Kilmarnock won't be judged in games at Ibrox or Parkhead, but you have to look at that away form. 2 points from 45. I thought in the first half they were really soft in terms of some really easy goals, particularly the first goal. There's three opportunities to get rid of that ball when it still ends up at Connor Goldson's feet. I would be concerned. I've been concerned all season about what they've got forward-wise. Defensively, though, I thought they were very soft, and that away form must be a concern.
Yeah, very, very soft. Come on, where I mean, the first goal was a joke, frankly. They usually 3 opportunities to play that ball, nobody took responsibility. The second goal's not much better. The third one, well, you could debate about VAR all day, as I've just said, but the away form is dreadful. I mean, 2 points from 45 on offer. There's no excuse for that, really. And the thing is, Kilmarnock will need to win at least one game on the road between now and the end of the season if they want to stay up. That's the reality of it.
Where do you put the away form down to, though? Because it's one that, like, I know, like Rugby Park, it can be a kind of fortress, if you like, but that it's a weird kind of thing. Like, with Derek McKinnon teams, I assume when I see them that they're quite hard to beat. I don't. Do you know what I mean? I just even the fact it's 2 draws, you would expect even more than that. It's something I've spoken to a few Kilmarnock fans and they can't put their finger on this away run.
No, but I can't put my finger on it either. I mean, I kind of go over it time and time again in my head, and I still can't really place what it is. And it's nothing to do with like backing or lack of backing, because Kilmarnock always have, and even yesterday, you know, some of the very good away support Ibrox. And so it's not that. And, you know, at Rugby Park, Kelly's form is pretty decent, only losing, 3 games? Yeah, 3 games at Rugby Park, 2 of which were against Old Firm sides.
Yeah.
But I cannot put a finger on how we're so inept away from home.
What do you think as well? Obviously, you look at, like, when we'll get into talking about the likes of, like, Motherwell have got Kevin Van Veen, Ross County have brought in a few good strikers in the January window. Dundee United, you've still got the likes of Stephen Fletcher in there. Kilmarnock, again, Ollie Shaw's left, Lafferty's left. You're going into a game, no disrespect to Christian Doidge, but I don't have a lot of confidence that Christian Doidge is going to keep Kilmarnock up. Kilmarnock need a striker. Kilmarnock have always had strikers that can score goals, and I don't see many goal threats in this Kilmarnock team, Laurie.
No, striker has been a real problem area for this team. It's no secret. And even Kyle Vassell, who I would say in his brief time at the club and only having 1 goal to his name, I would say he's a better striker option by a fair distance, and it's a pretty low bar. And again, that's no disrespect to Vassell, but really poor. I mean, I don't have much confidence in Doidge either. I would say of late he'd actually been a little better than how he started. But again, that doesn't really speak for much, to be honest. And then you're basically left with Scott Robinson, who you could argue is an attacking midfielder, and then Bobby Wales, who's only 17, so you can't really handle the pressure onto him.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be twisting turns in this relegation zone all season, but again, I just worry about Kilmarnock at the front end. We'll move into Hibs continuing their really good run as well. 5 goals in the past 6 games, matches for Ellie Youan. He scored a double. They came from behind to beat Livingston 4-1. Stephen, I think Ellie Youan, he's been a bit of a weird one because I don't think he hit the ground running straight away. There was a lot of people, I spoke to a couple of Hibs fans, and they were saying he's not anywhere near what they're looking for. And you look at the likes of Boyle been injured, Kevin Nisbet, McGeady obviously been ruled out for the season. Hibs need a big striker to kind of take the reins in if they're going to push for top 6. And Ewan's been actually pretty good lately, and he's again a double and coming from behind. We'll touch on Livingston in a wee minute, but again, just Hibs. Ewan's been a slow burner, but he's proving to be quite a big player for Hibs.
He's stepped up when he's needed to. In fairness to him, I would agree with you that he's quite a poor start. He just wasn't I don't know quite. If he took a bit of time to get used to the pace and the strength required, he's not the strongest of players, but he took his goals very well yesterday. I saw them earlier, and as you said, 5 and 6 games, and he had a hand in the third goal as well yesterday. So 7 unbeaten for Hibs. It's a good run after things were looking pretty grim for Mr. Johnson at one point. They need Youan to keep that level up because, as you say, they've got some bad injuries. I mean, any team would miss Nisbet and Boyle because that's 2 very good strikers, and McGeady was playing well. It's unfortunate that he got that bad injury.
Laurie, I think with Livingston as well, I think it's a weird one because we look at Livingston a lot and we think they're very composed at the back. They obviously did have the red card, which I think did just completely kill them. But losing 4 goals, especially after being 1-0 up, it's very unlike this Livingston team.
Yeah, absolutely is. I mean, they're always incredibly solid, really tough to break down. But as you say about the red cards, if I'm not mistaken, it was Oberlin who came on to replace who was it that got sent off? Can't remember.
Fitzwater, was it?
Fitzwater, yeah.
Sent off. We bring on Oberlin, who then has to go off injured. So there's that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But even before that, I mean, especially at home, it's not like any team, and it's credit to Hibs to go to Armanville and pick up something based on sports team last night, relative ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think with Hibs, obviously they have got their injury problems, but if you can get the likes of Youan playing, I thought as well the Ukrainian boy whose name I can never get right, is it Maya Kretz or something? Him scoring as well. These guys coming on, like Nisbet obviously come on as a sub. You look at that Hibs team and you think, are they? There seems to be a lot of individuals. There doesn't seem to be much of a spine, but they're getting goals. They're scoring a lot. That's the thing. As long as you can get goals in the board, Cadden even coming on as scoring a goal as well. I think this Hibs team are more than capable of finishing top 6. And again, they'll want Nisbet back to his best because I thought when he came back for injury, I thought he was terrific. If they can get Nisbet back and maybe link him up with Youan, I think they could be pretty fine. Let's move into the evening game, which will again had a lot of stories on it as well. Obviously, Jim Goodwin coming in at Dundee United, Laurie. And I think a lot of people thought, including me, that maybe this would be the new manager bounce classic that we see all the time, especially against your former club. And it looked that way for a wee while. Like, again, Dundee United, I thought were the better team in the first half. Second half, though, Aberdeen just turned it on, Laurie. I thought, again, just the Dundee United, you did see signs of what they can do, but I thought they were really poor at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dundee United did start really well. I mean, Stephen Fletcher had a few chances, and he's someone who I'm sure will have really disappointed, not even just Dundee United, but a lot of people across Scotland because of what he would have came back and done a lot more this season. But back onto the game, I mean, I'm with you, Scott. I thought it was going to be, new manager bounce. Maybe Jim Goodwin would scrape a 1-0, but I mean, Aberdeen, the quality just kind of shone through in the end. I mean, Duke has probably been one of the constants for Aberdeen, even in the kind of bad spells towards the end under Goodwin there. Duke was one of the ones who would kind of pull them through, and lo and behold, he and a few others did that last night.
Yeah. Stephen, I think obviously with Aberdeen, like they've got like I don't think it was. I think a lot of Aberdeen fans would say it wasn't a performance that they want to watch again. But when you've got the likes of Duke, I thought Clarkson was really good as well. Obviously, 2 assists. When you've got players like that, when you're maybe under the cosh a wee bit, they can produce bits of quality and get some help from some really poor defending, which I thought happened as well.
Yeah.
Then it shows you Aberdeen they are capable of doing it, because when you've got 2 players like that, they were the big difference yesterday.
Leighton Clarkson is he's technically a level above, obviously being at Liverpool, but he set up the last 2 goals, and it was very impressive how he finished the game. But the moment of magic was surely from Duke coming in.
Yeah,
terrible defending, fair enough, but he did well to close the defender down and to actually get onto the ball, because he looked almost second favourite to get on, headed it down, came across his man, and to back heel it from that position was pretty cheeky and pretty impressive. So when you hit guys like that, they can win you games. But yeah, the first half, Dun United they were definitely the better team. Dons didn't look shaky at the back as they have done for a lot of the season, and United will be disappointed they weren't in front at half time, to be honest. But fair play to Aberdeen, stuck at it. Ross McCrory's surely one of their better players. Good to see him getting a goal. He always produces 7, 8 out of 10 every week. And then obviously Marley Watkins got the first time he's scored in quite a while. Was more impressive in his first spell at the Dons. Has probably struggled since he's came back. But I think you've got to remember it was 3 years. 3 years of a gap, so it's kind of quite the same player getting. But a very important win for Aberdeen to follow up on the Livingston result, I thought.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Aberdeen. Laurie, what about Barry Robson? Do you think, I mean, he's doing himself no harm if he wants this job full time. He obviously does. There has been a wee bit of talk the past couple of days that maybe there is going to be a new manager coming in. Again, there's been a couple of names thrown about. But if you're Barry Robson, what do you do? Like you obviously want to keep winning, but he will be in the shop window looking for this job. He must be. Obviously, Dave Cormack will be probably quite happy he'll be delighted to see the team winning. But what does Barry Robson have to keep doing here to maybe be in the running for this job?
I think kind of a big thing that could help Barry, and who knows, they might have started turning the corner with it last night. That's what we're saying about Kelly, actually, is the away form, because Aberdeen have really sold on the road, this season. Without looking at Aberdeen's fixture, if they've got a few winnable away games coming up, and Rob still in the dugout, if he gets good results there, I think he'd be him with a chance. But personally, I don't see Aberdeen giving him a long contract. To be honest, I think it'd be a kind of short-term fix until we get someone else in.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move into quite a big game down at the bottom of the table. Ross County versus Motherwell. Again, probably a theme of the weekend. Home team were really good first half. Didn't get anything going, but again, second half, a red card completely kills them. And Kevin Van Veen scores a double for Motherwell and keeps this really good run going under Stuart Kettlewell. And I think my analysis of the game, Stephen's pretty fair. I mean, I didn't see Motherwell win the game at half time.
Absolutely not. County were quite good. They've been in decent form, and as you said, the red card changed the game. Ross County definitely had chances to go in front, but so I thought old man Van Veen. I'm an Aberdeen man, and he seems to always score against the Dons. So he's done it again up north, but they only got to 2 goals after the red card, so it's a game changer. It really is, and quite as you said, it's quite a few this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have influenced games.
Laurie, what would you do for a Kevin Van Veen in the Kilmarnock team?
Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, in all seriousness, I'm sure Kelly were linked with Van Veen at one point.
Could have been, yeah.
But in all seriousness, a forward like that would be a godsend for Kelly. Like in my opinion, anyway, Motherwell are probably, and it's kind of been shown by the run Stuart Kettlewell's been on, Motherwell are probably the best team that are kind of in that relegation mix.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is probably down to Van Veen, because again, a bit like, well, do you look at your team, Stephen, and there's been the one kind of consistent player throughout even the kind of tricky times that Stevie Hamill faced at Motherwell, been Kevin Van Veen.
Yeah.
I think as well, obviously, like Stephen, you look at this league table, like the Day United are obviously sitting bottom. They've got their game in hand against Livingston on Wednesday. It's looking very likely it's going to be a 3-horse race. I think Motherwell will be fine. I think Motherwell, again, they've just got a few really good goal scorers. They've been in a bit of really good form. Yeah. Ross County, on the other hand, I'm keen to get your thoughts on them, obviously, because we've spoke a lot in this show this season about Ross County's, what they've got up front. You now can't make that thing because they've obviously Eamon Brophy's there. Jordan White, I think, has kicked on a wee bit as well. You've got a player like Simon Murray who's come in as well. They should have enough. They should have. You look at their squad, they've obviously put 4 past in the United last week. They're very, very hot and cold. One week you can look at Ross County and think they play so well and just lack that finishing touch. But last week you see it, again, they're scoring a lot of goals. This week it was more of the same as what we've seen this season. They play some really good stuff. I think probably if you look at a team to watch, they're probably up there with the best in the league, apart from the top 2. But they just sometimes lack that finishing touch, and you need that in a relegation fight, as Laurie will probably agree. I'll probably agree with.
Yeah, you certainly do need that. Yeah.
Absolutely, Scott. It's interesting. I actually saw Ross County in the League Cup at Bucky Thistle earlier in the season, at the start of the season, and it finished 1-1 that day, and they were locking up front. Bucky obviously played very well for a Highland League side, but County, I play good stuff. I quite like Danda as a player, but I don't know if he's physically got enough for the SPL, but he's a talented player. And I've liked Simon Murray for a long time, so you would think, looking at the bottom 3, that County have got the best attacking players. We've already covered how Killie might struggle for goals, and I'd say that they've got better attacking players than United as well. So they're probably more likely to get out of that bottom 2 or 3. Motherwell, definitely. Aye, they've hit form at the right time, and I think there's a good chance they might kick on.
Yeah, absolutely. The final game we'll talk about was Tynecastle, Hearts 3, St Johnstone 0, double from Josh Ginnelly. Laurie, I spoke to a couple of people at this game. It was very entertaining by the sounds of it, just going by the highlights as well. It looked end to end, some good football on display, but you saw a really good level of quality from Hearts. Ginnelly obviously by double playing as a central striker. And Hearts, they've kind of dipped a few weeks. They haven't been at their best, but they're coming to form at the right time because they've 2 massive games coming up this week.
Yeah, absolutely. They are coming to form at the right time, and obviously they've lost to Motherwell the other week. And even based on highlights from yesterday, they weren't necessarily at their best, but certain individuals, the likes of Josh Ginnelly, are just pulling them through, I'm sure. A couple of the goals were deflected as well, to be fair, but Hearts have been incredibly consistent throughout the season, and every team, well, maybe aside from Celtic, are going to have that wee wobble, and Hearts perhaps have had it and have now rode the storm and are coming out the other side.
Stephen, I think when you look at Hearts as well, obviously that they have had a wee dip, they haven't been at their best, but they're still 5 points clear in third, and again, I think comfortably they're going to finish third. And they just have it, like you look at their team. Shankland's obviously been terrific. Ginnelly has been hitting form as well. I thought George Grant yesterday was brilliant in the midfield. I thought he was one of the best players of the weekend. And they have a lot of quality. You look at, we spoke about Celtic earlier. They're bringing on some good players like Halliday, Devlin, the Greek player, Alan Forrest as well. That squad, there's a lot of depth in that squad.
They've got a lot of talented players, and you've got to add Robert Snodgrass to that as well. His experience has been important, I think, coming into the middle of the park for them. But yeah, you just got Barry Mackay, very talented as well. Probably should have done a bit more post Louis' career than he has at this stage. But yeah, when you're bringing off people like Devlin and Halliday and Forrest off the bench, yeah, you're pretty well off. And I think I would agree that Hearts are comfortably probably the third best team in that league. And the league table doesn't lie. It's 5 points clear of Hibs, and well, it looks like superior to Hibs with the results that they've had over them in recent times as well. So,
Yeah.
No offence, Hibs fans, of course.
So, Laurie, you look at St Johnstone as well, and again, a 3-0 defeat will never be. You'll never accept that again, but they have to take a lot of facts. They've been really, really good this season compared to what they were last season. They're closer to the top 6 than they are to relegation, which I think is massive for a team like St Johnstone. They were quite wasteful yesterday. They had a lot of chances. You look at the game back, they would probably say like a couple of them, if they'd felt at the right time, they would have maybe got a couple of goals out of that. You have to look at St Johnstone and say that this has been a successful season so far.
Yeah, they have done really well. I imagine St Johnstone fans would have probably went into, this season quite worried off the back of having to stay up by the playoffs,
Yeah.
and losing the player who almost single-handedly kept them up in Callum Hendry. So, so St Johnstone fans will be coming into this season, I imagine, riddled with a good bit of fear. But Callum Davison's done really well there. Some really kind of shrewd additions, like even Daniel Phillips, the midfielder. I think he's serving a ban just now, but even people like that have made a huge difference to St Johnstone, and they've been closer to the top 6 in relegation. For a club like St Johnstone, that's exactly what you want. You do, of course, you want to get into the top 6, and St Johnstone in the past have made a habit of doing that, particularly probably right. But as long as you're kind of keeping yourselves safe, I don't want to quite use the phrase mid-table obscurity, but that's all that. That's kind of what you want for St Johnstone in teams of that ilk, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been a busy weekend of the Premiership. Championship, let's just run through the results and we'll get both your results of the weekend. I know where mine's is going to be. Hamilton 0, Arbroath 0 Friday night. We obviously saw the immortal, what I think is going to be the immortal photo of the season, Dick Canville flipping the bird.
Yep.
Somebody, I would love to know who it was to. I've actually texted him and asked him, but I don't expect a reply. Ayr United won.
Worth a go,
2. It was worth a go. I was keen to see who it was, because he clearly was doing it to somebody directly. Just Dick Campbell, absolute character. Love him.
Class.
One of my favourite guests on the show by a mile. It was
brilliant.
excellent on our show. I really, really enjoyed it. Other results as well. Ayr 1, Inverness 2, Cove 0, Dundee 2, Partick Thistle 3, Wraith Rovers 0, Queen's Park 2, Morton 2. Again, you just look at this table, Stephen. Queen's Park, it's just become, Ayr were sitting second a couple of years ago. Now they're out the playoffs. Completely, it's a weird league. But I think the winners of the weekend are probably Partick Thistle for me. Chris Doolan got the job on a permanent basis. Another brilliant result. Again, 3-0 against Wraith Rovers. They're now in the playoff spots. That's probably where my result would be. Stephen, where are you?
Possibly. I've got a big mate that is a huge Jugs fan, so he might need to thank me for this. But that was a impressive win, I thought, for Carly Thistle. Away from home, because they've been struggling a bit of late. Again, they've still got a pretty horrendous injury list, but that was a good result. But maybe, as you said, Thistle playing more a form team, Wraith, than Carly were, because they have dropped out. It's that league changes so often, so quickly. It's unbelievable. Queens and Dundee have got a wee gap there, but it's still not much, because Morton and Ayr have got a game in hand as well. So
and they play each other on Tuesday night.
Exactly. So it's really up for grabs. Very, very interesting league.
That is that.
I enjoy following that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Laurie, what about yourself? Another one that stands out is probably Dundee. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think Dundee stands out, and even Queen's Park and Morton. I mean, Morton have done well this year, getting themselves into the playoff for the moment. But I mean, as we're just saying, that's changed every 5 minutes. Who's in there? I mean, the Championship is an unbelievable league. I mean, you would think a league of 10 isn't very entertaining, but the Championship kind of totally dispels that. And as you say, Dundee are doing well. I mean, Queen's Park are kind of up there at the moment as well. And I mean, bit off topic, but if they were to go up, where are they actually going to play their football? Because even if Leicester Ham and Ready, it's not big enough, is it?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't it be?
No,
No.
that's kind of an interesting one as well. I think as well I think what will happen is, I don't know if Leicester Ham's is going to be ready, but I would imagine if Queen's Park go up, are they going to play Celtic and Rangers at Hampden and just try and max it out, because they probably would get a full house. And again, I'm going to be interested to see. I don't know for a fact if that's happening, but I can imagine that's what's going to happen. Unless at Hampden, I don't know, I've not been near Hampden in a while, but to me, it's from what I've heard and what I've seen about it, it does not look ready for Premiership football next season. So I think Queen's Park are probably a year ahead of where they thought they would be as well, because I don't think they envisioned themselves coming up this season, and I certainly don't think they imagined to be competing for Premiership playoff. So it's interesting. I think Dundee, I do think the more and more I look at this league, I think Dundee are the team to beat. I just think as well, they've got so many good players as well. Like, I mean, you just look through their team. I mean, Zach Robinson, Lyle Cameron, Ben Williamson, I think is a terrific player. Probably too good to be playing in the Championship. He just needs to find a bit of consistency. And they've got a really good manager as well. Gary Boyer's not a mug. Gary Boyer knows what he's doing, and he's came in to do a job. He's not in to be in the Championship. He's there to take Dundee up, and I do think he will. And again, knowing people that know Chris Doolan, I know how good a football guy he is. To see him getting a job like that and to be doing really well, hats off to him. Brilliant for Chris. And I do think Partick Thistle are a sleeping giant, and I think they're now getting to a stage where if they can get into this playoff run, they've got players like Scott Tiffany as well, who I think is terrific. Brian Graham's been doing it for a while. They've just got so many good players in that team. But League One is a place as well that's been interesting over the weekend. Dunfermline 2, Alloa 0, Falkirk 5, Peterhead 0, Kelty 1, FC Edinburgh 2, Montrose 2, Clyde 0, and Queen of the South 3, Airdrieonians 2. I think, Stephen, we have to start at Falkirk. I think Peterhead at 59 minutes thought they could maybe be sneaking out of the Falkirk Stadium with a point. Craig McGuffey with a hat-trick, including a goal from the halfway line. If you haven't seen it, it's a topper.
And it's a cracker.
But again, Falkirk, brilliant goal. And Craig McGuffey as well, another player. I can't believe he left there for nothing. Again, somebody made it.
Yeah.
He's local to you. And and I just think if he'd have let him go for nothing. A really interesting league, because it looks more like a two-horse race. Obviously, Dunfermline play Falkirk. I believe they play each other on Tuesday night as well.
Tuesday night, yeah.
Really good Tuesday night. That could be a big game for Falkirk.
It could well be. It was an interesting one yesterday. It still be at 0-0 after an hour with a real struggling Peterhead side. Although David Robertson has made a bit of a difference there with the players he's brought in, you would still expect Falkirk to win comfortably, in which they did in the end, in fairness to them. That's a massive game on Tuesday night. You'd probably say Falkirk need to win it.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Put some pressure ahead. Dunfermline have been so consistent, only lost one game all season. Can't argue with that. So I would think it's unlikely they would bridge that gap, because Dunfermline will continue the consistency. And you've got the two big clubs really as the top two, which is good. And it's definitely obviously going to be Clyde or Peterhead at the bottom, I'm afraid.
It certainly looks like it as well. There's some interesting results in there, Laurie, as well. You like Kelty, Edinburgh going to Kelty and winning 2-1, Queen of the South 3, Airdrie 2, Montrose 2, Clyde 0. Was there any results catch your eye?
Well, I would say that, Montrose and Clyde, I mean, that's not a huge one, because obviously just Clyde and Peterhead are pretty much stuck down there, no matter how hard they try. And, I mean, Queen of the South, just a general point on them, not so much about yesterday's game. They have really kind of struggled until Marvin Bartley's came in, and they have kind of got themselves, not quite back on track, but somewhere a bit closer to where they want to be under Bartley. It'll be interesting to see how they go next season. I would think that they could be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because who knows? Both Dunfermline and Falkirk could realistically go up. I mean, and they both will be desperate, particularly Falkirk, to get out of League One. I mean, Falkirk have been there for what, 5 years?
Something like that, This is the first they've smartened up a wee bit, Falkirk. Obviously, they brought in John
Very good.
McGlynn. I spoke to somebody at Falkirk a wee while ago, and some of the stuff they was telling me was horrible. Like what it was, they just to get back to that position where they're looking more like they're going forward rather than going backwards. It's good to see Falkirk getting there. League Two, it's been a 2-horse race for a lot of the season, but I think it's now been solidified as a 2-horse race. Dumbarton won, obviously, 2-0 away to Stranraer. Stirling won 3-2 against Albion Rovers. Really tight game, actually. I think Albion were 2-1 up. And you've got the likes of, obviously, Bonnyrigg, big result away to Elgin. East Fife beating Forfar 3-2 and Stenhousemuir beating Annan 3-2. Stephen, a few interesting results in there.
Absolutely. It's very close. If you notice that the between third and eighth, only 6 points.
Yeah.
But a huge win for Bonnyrigg Rose. They really needed a result. And it's not an easy place to go to because, I mean, look at just the distance they have to go to travel to get to Elgin to start with. And Elgin are well, they're not in tremendous form, but they're still shooting in there for the playoffs. So it's a massive win for them. They could still drag possibly Elgin themselves and the likes of Stranraer back into that if they continue to get results. But Dumbarton have been excellent. They started the season so well. They've still got that 5-point lead, so it looks between them and Stirling Albion. But the rest of the playoffs, third downwards. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Selecting that one.
Yeah, it could be a lottery, from third to eighth, as you say. There's only 6 points between them as well. Laurie, Dumbarton and Stirling, it does look a 2-horse race. Again, who do you think out of those two will be going up?
I do think it will be Dumbarton, and to a degree, Dumbarton are a club who will have ambitions bigger than League Two. It was only 5 or 6 years ago they were in the Championship. I'm not saying they can go as high as that, but my money would be on Dumbarton. But who knows? And that kind of playoff race is unbelievable. You can literally there's probably, Stranraer in particular are probably like, well, we could go down. Well, we could face that playoffs to go down, or indeed get up in League One. I mean, it makes it quite entertaining, I imagine, as a fan, but probably not that good to your health, is it?
No, absolutely not as well. And again, it's these leagues as well. You can build up. The Barton had such a good start at this again, and it just could work wonders for them come the end of the season when they're getting a bit better form. We do have some action this midweek as well. Midweek's been pretty quiet. We've had the Champions League, but we haven't really had much Scottish football. We do 3 Premiership games. We've got a couple of big games in the Championship and League One. Celtic host Hearts on Wednesday night. I should say as well, and I do make this a wee bit of a rant. None of these games are in Sky. Again, Sky, brilliant deal.
None.
Yeah, none of these games. Celtic play Hearts, Hibs play Rangers. None of them are in Sky. And we're supposed to believe this is a brilliant deal for Scottish football.
Great.
Thanks, Neil Doncaster. But Celtic play Hearts, obviously. Hearts will play Celtic in the Scottish Cup on Saturday, I think it is. Yeah. But again, Hearts will be... Celtic are so remarkably consistent, but Hearts will be going there with no fear. I hate the phrase free hit, but for Hearts it really is, Stephen.
It is a free hit, absolutely. Will they have one eye in a cup game, even possibly?
Yeah, possibly.
It's near beyond possible, but we'll see. Hearts. The best thing to do surely is to go and have a go at them. Celtic, if they've got any weakness at all, surely it's at the back.
I think with Hearts as well, as obviously there's a way to play Celtic in particular. As do you sit back and just try and avoid the Celtic pressure, or do you do what he did? Does Nielsen do what he did against Rangers and completely open up, have a go and get picked off? Now, again, if you do one thing, if you become defensive, then you get accused of being anti-football. If you then open up and get picked apart, then you're accused of completely just letting go of your defensive.
So it's hard balance.
Hard balance. I do think Celtic will win. I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to go quite hard. 3-1 Celtic. What do you think, Stephen?
4-1.
Laurie, Celtic versus Hearts.
Okay, I'll say 2-1 Celtic. I'll be a bit nice to the Jambos, but still think Celtic are going to win.
So we'll move into Easter Road, Laurie. Hibs versus Rangers. Again, Rangers, it's just about trying to get wins on the board. Hibs are coming in at a good time. I think Rangers 3-2. I think Rangers can be very, very prone to some defensive mistakes, as we saw last week. I don't think they're particularly good away from home in the league. I think they're capable of letting some goals. They've won 3-2 3 times under Michael Beale, and I think this could be a fourth time. I think Rangers will win, but I think it'll be 3-2. I think it'll be quite an interesting game. I think it'll be full of goals. 3-2 Rangers, I'm going for. Laurie, what have we got?
Yeah, I think 3-2 is quite possible because as you were saying about Sky a minute ago, to me, we could argue about Hearts and Celtic. That Hibs Rangers game, that just screams Sky Sports to me.
You could have either of those games, but again, we're supposed to believe that this deal is transforming Scottish football. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, score prediction. I kind of think maybe again I'll go for 3-1. I don't see Hibs scoring 2, but 3-2 would be really interesting though.
It would be a game you would want to watch on Sky. Let's be set that. If it was 3-2, if it would be a game you'd want to watch on Sky. Stephen, Hibs versus Rangers. What's the scoreline?
The more you think about it, it's true. That's nonsense. Like, it really is. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It'll be an interesting game though. 2 form sides in good league form. So I'd agree with you. Defence is not the best on either side at the moment. 2-2.
Yeah.
2 each.
2-2, big call. It's going to be a really interesting weekend. I think this is the game. This is the game that could decide. I think you'll be very interested in this, Laurie, because I think my best bet of the week is Dundee United away to Livingston. I just have a feeling Dundee United are going to creep up Kilmarnock. This is going to be the week that Dundee United get a victory on the board. Jim Goodwin's going to get his first win, and I think it's going to be against Livingston. I'm going to go 1-0 Dundee United. Am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say you're wrong because I don't hear Scott, to be honest. I mean, I actually think Jim Goodwin will be a decent appointment for them, and you're not wrong, and I am starting to grow more and more fearful as time goes on. So fingers crossed that Livy can do Kilmarnock a wee favour, but Dundee United, as bad as they've been, are capable. I mean, in Livy, I mean, we've seen their fragility at the weekend, so could that continue, especially with it being away from home?
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a scoreline. Sorry, what was your scoreline?
Okay, so I'll go for a 1-each draw.
1-1 draw. Stephen, what we got?
I think you've possibly changed my thinking there a bit, Scott. It's Livingston will be hurting from that defeat. It's going to affect them a bit, and they'll have a suspension surely as well, at least one to deal with. So, yeah, maybe 2-1 United.
Jack Fitzwater's out. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I think my strongest selection of the weekend is. I keep saying weekend. It's during the week. I think I'm just so used to the fact there's so many weekend games. Dundee United, I think, will beat Livingston. I think that's my strong selection. And that's going to wrap up the show for this week. I want to thank our guest, first of all, Stephen Shand.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Scott. Been a pleasure.
Thank you. And a pleasure as well. Thank you very much to Laurie Finlayson.
Yeah, hey, you're very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend the last 40 minutes doing this, and I've been more than happy to come back on.
Brilliant. It'll be a pleasure to be both on. Thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. Please follow us on social media as well. Stephen Olaby's Highland League and North of Scotland roundups as well during the week.
Absolutely.
And as well, we will obviously have the roundups of West of Scotland show, Women's Football show will be back as well. We've got a lot coming out. And of course, if you're a horse racing fan, our Cheltenham preview show will be up on Sunday night. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.